You know, deep inside the world's biggest companies, there's this massive, silent shift happening right now. The core software that runs literally everything, from supply chains to payroll, well, it's facing an expiration date. A huge chunk of it is about to become totally obsolete.
So that brings up a really critical question for any leader today. You have to ask yourself, is the software that you rely on every single day a powerful asset that's pushing you forward? Or is it actually a ticking liability, just waiting to hold you back?
And you might be surprised who's facing this problem. I mean, this isn't about small businesses. We are talking about global giants. We're talking about household names like Saudi Aramco, Shell, Nestlé. I mean, these are companies with hundreds of billions in revenue, and they are all relying on a foundational system that has a very real expiration date.
Okay, so to really get what's happening, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to look at the end of an era for a critical piece of software. Then, we'll dive into what's called the complexity trap, the daily frustrations of these old systems. After that, we'll see why a whole new marketing playbook is needed before we finally get to the good stuff, what a future-ready ERP looks like, and the 5 non-negotiable features you'll need by 2026.
So let's start with that ticking clock, because a foundational piece of enterprise software, something used by thousands of companies, is officially heading for retirement.
The system we're talking about is SAP ECC. It launched way back in 2004, and for over a decade, it was the absolute gold standard. But then, in 2015, its cloud-native successor arrived, and that started a countdown. Now the deadlines are getting very, very real. Mainstream maintenance ends in 2027, and by 2030, all support is scheduled to just stop completely.
And look, this is not just an IT problem, it's a strategic crisis. Hundreds of the world's most important companies are facing a really stark choice. They either undertake a super complex and expensive migration, or they risk their entire operation on technology that's unsupported, outdated, and frankly, vulnerable.
But that end-of-life deadline, that's really only part of the story. The other part is the daily, grinding inefficiency of actually using these legacy systems. And that's the complexity trap.
Let's just look at a real-world example from another legacy system, Microsoft Dynamics. Say you need to resend some failed emails. Seems simple, right? Nope, not at all. First, you realize you can't just select them all and hit resend. Instead, you have to manually build a whole new workflow just for this one task. Then use an advanced find feature to hunt down the emails, and then you can manually run your new workflow. It's a 6-step nightmare for what should be a one-click problem.
This quote just perfectly illustrates the pain. It's from a Microsoft Premier field engineer and expert, and he's admitting he has to cobble together code just to make things work. I mean, if the experts are struggling, just imagine what it's like for the everyday user.
And this isn't just about being frustrated. Every single one of these manual workarounds represents hours and hours of lost productivity. It's like a hidden tax on your business, just draining time and money that you could be spending on, actual innovation. Okay, so we've established the problem. The tech is old, it's clunky, but this creates an even deeper issue. How do you sell a solution to a problem that buyers don't even fully understand yet? Well, it turns out the old way of marketing this kind of technology is just as broken as the software itself. Fixing the product isn't enough. You've got to fix the playbook.
You know, the old marketing funnel, awareness, consideration, decision, it's this nice, neat, linear model for a world that is just not linear anymore. B2B buyers today, they don't follow that path. They jump all over the place, they do their own research, and they show up ready to talk specifics.
So the old way, on the left, was to just create all this broad content and kind of hope people trickle down the funnel, right? Focusing on metrics like web traffic. But the new revenue-first method on the right totally flips the script. It starts with content for people who are already close to buying, things like demos and comparison guides, and it focuses on what actually matters, generating revenue.
And the data totally backs us up. Content that's aimed at buyers who are deep in their research process, it delivers 2 to 3 times higher conversion rates. It's all about meeting buyers where they are, not where your funnel wants them to be.
So this brings us to the future. If the old systems are broken and the old sales models are failing, what does the new generation of enterprise software actually look like? What should we be excited about?
Well, first, let's be really clear. The future is already here. According to a recent report, over 72% of organizations have already deployed artificial intelligence in their operations. This is not some futuristic trend. It is a present-day reality, and your competitors are already doing it.
The first key concept to get is the Composable ERP. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So forget the old, giant, all-in-one software that takes years to update. The new model uses smaller, modular apps you can plug together like Lego bricks. It makes your business way more agile and adaptable.
Next up, something called the digital twin. This is seriously cool. It's a virtual copy of your factory floor or a specific piece of machinery. It's fed real-time data, which lets you run simulations, predict when a machine is going to break down, and optimize your entire production before it happens in the real world. It's all about moving from reaction to prediction.
And that predictive power leads to this, the autonomous supply chain. Your old system just tells you a shipment is late. An autonomous system predicts the delay before it even happens and then automatically reroutes shipments or finds new suppliers. This is about building a supply chain that's resilient and basically heals itself.
And finally, there's embedded ESG reporting. With all the growing pressure from investors and regulators, tracking your environmental, social, and governance metrics can't be an afterthought in some spreadsheet anymore. It has to be a core, auditable part of your main operating system.
Okay, so putting all of that together, what does this mean for anyone who's looking at a new system? Well, here's the essential checklist for making sure your next big tech investment is actually future-proof.
These 5 things are absolutely non-negotiable. Number 1, a cloud-native modular architecture for agility. 2, AI that is embedded, not just bolted on afterwards. 3, real-time analytics for live insights, not reports about what happened last month. 4, compliance and governance have to be built in from the start. And finally, number 5, it must have seamless interoperability, because your ERP doesn't live in a vacuum. It has to talk to everything else.
And here is the crucial point in all of this. Choosing your next enterprise system is not just an IT decision. It's not a simple upgrade. It's a strategic decision that is going to define how your company operates for the next decade.
And that really leads to the final question you should be asking yourself. The system you have right now, it was built to solve yesterday's problems. So, is the strategy you're building around it truly ready for the challenges and the opportunities of tomorrow?